Hello and welcome to this video, and I'm here bringing to you one question that came from one of the parents here. The question is this. Hey Sujaya, so many times it happens that yes, we also lose our temper, we get angry about maybe something about what the child has done, or maybe something about something else that has happened. And yes, we also show that anger on our child, and then we say sorry. So does it happen that the child actually learns that doing something and then saying sorry is kind of working? So how do we actually deal this? Yes, so how do we actually deal this? So very wonderful question, because see, I'm just sharing these questions with you here, whoever is watching this video here, because maybe you also may be having similar kind of questions, or maybe when you're looking at this video right now, some other new thought is triggered in your mind that is actually very helpful for your relation that you have with your child. So just stay until the end of this video and you will get your bulb on moments while watching this video. So yes, that's a very valid question, that yes, we all have our own temper tantrums. Yes, even being adults, we also have our own temper tantrums, we also have our own mood swings. Yes, we may also be angry, we may sometimes also show that anger on the child, and yes, having realized, we may also tell them sorry. But what happens when this pattern of doing something or saying something and then telling sorry, if this pattern is kind of repeating, the child is learning that yes, this pattern works, or this is a valid pattern which is accepted by the society out there, or this is a valid pattern which is accepted by people out there. Yes, so that is what the child is learning, if this has become a repeating pattern. And worse, maybe sometimes in some situations it also happens that the child is forced to say sorry. Okay, you've done this, and say sorry, only then you will get this. Only when you say sorry, maybe I will play with you, right? So even at that point of time, the child actually learns that okay, even if I have done that, it's okay to do that. It's just required for me to say sorry. So let me just do whatever it is that I wanted to do and then say sorry. Yes, but what is the point? What is the missing link here? What should the child be learning? What should the parent be doing, and what should the child be learning? And obviously, the child learns from whatever the parent is doing, not necessarily from what the parent is saying, right? If you agree with this, just type out agree in the chat box. So the child may not listen to what you are saying, the child may not learn from what you are saying, but the child learns seeing what you are doing, right? So now when the pattern is repeated, now you've done something and then you're telling sorry, but now when we are saying sorry, or when we are forcing the child to say sorry, when the child is understanding that okay, whatever it is that I've done, just saying sorry will suffice the situation, we are actually not understanding, or we are just actually not connecting with the feelings that went inside that person, and the other person also, for whom I may have to say sorry at this point of time, right? Okay, what happened? Actually, what happened? And then what was I feeling? Why did I have to say that? And what was the other person feeling? Why is that person feeling bad? What happened? Yes, that's a long story together. There is another video that I've done on the sorry thing. So just go there and click that link and you will get it. So in this video, let's focus on these repeating patterns which may have become common, and the child is learning from these patterns that okay, doing something and just saying sorry is enough. And maybe the child is actually doing this for the sibling or for the friend, right? So the child also is kind of doing the same to the sibling or the friend out there. So what happens at that point of time, or how can we be with the child at that point of time? So one weekly activity, or and very good if it is actually happening every day, a daily activity, which I also suggest with the inner circle community that I have, is pause and reflect. When you are pausing and reflecting and whatever on all the experience that you've had throughout the day, you can do pausing and reflecting either once a day, midday, or at least once a week. So when you are just pausing and reflecting, it's not about judgment, it's not about judging the other person, it is not about judging your own self. It's not about judging the situation. It's not about who's done good, who was right, who was wrong, who was good, who was bad. Nothing about that sort. Nothing of that sort. Pausing and reflecting is just about looking at whatever has happened and learning something from that experience. Okay, so I've reacted in this way. So what made me react that way? What was a belief that I had which made me react that way? And what's a belief? Belief is just a thought, a hardwired thought. So what was that thought in my mind at that point of time which made me react that way? Maybe my thought was, okay, at this point of time, if I do not see this task done, I am upset. I am upset and I would have to shout out, right? So what is making me upset? Again, just go deep and deep and deep into it, and you will get your own answers from your own self. That is what is connecting to your intuition. That is what connecting with your own intuition helps you with. Now, so when you are actually pausing and reflecting, it's about connecting to yourself as well as correcting, right? So you all want to control the outside situation, you all want to correct the child, but when you are connecting with yourself, you are also reflecting on how your reactions were, how your responses were on that point of during the day, and what else I could do. What was that thought running in my mind which made me react this way? And when I did that, what was the thought that got triggered in my child's mind, right? Does it create a positive environment in my child? Does it give a growth mindset in my child, or does it create a negative environment in my child's mind, right? So how are my words affecting the child's thoughts? How are my actions affecting the child's thoughts? You can just keep asking yourself n number of questions, and everything will come to you clearly. So when you are pausing and reflecting, it is not about, again, it's not about judging. It is not about this is right, that is wrong, she was right, I was wrong, or I was right, she was wrong. It's not about who's good, who's bad, but it is just about knowing those thoughts, connecting with the feelings, what emotion got triggered in me. So what was the thought that was in my mind which made me yell, which made me maybe shout, which made me hit the child? And at that point of time, what was my emotion and where is it coming from? Exactly where is it coming from? So just keep asking yourself all these questions and the picture will become clear. It will shift from blur picture to a clearer picture. And the second thing is this, that's also valid in the case of children doing it. That is, when we are doing something, if we are actually very much aware at that point of time, meaning if we are very much mindful at that point of time, if we know what we are thinking, what we are saying and what we are doing, right? If you are actually aware of our thoughts, our words and actions at that point of time, we wouldn't make any mistake for that matter, right? A mistake is a mistake. A mistake is known to be a mistake only after it has been made. After you do something because that was the best that you could do at that point of time. And after doing it, when you just think about it, you kind of think that, okay, I should not have done that. Oh, this is kind of becoming some kind of thing that my child is learning something which is not very helpful for him. Yes. So yes, a mistake is known to be a mistake only after it has been committed, when you look back at it. So when you are doing it, it is never a mistake, because whatever you are doing depends, whatever you are doing based on the level of awareness that you had at that point of time. If you were mindful of your words, thoughts and actions at that point of time, you wouldn't, and you knew, and most importantly, you know what reaction you have, and you know that reaction would not be helpful for you or for the child, you wouldn't do it, right? When you know it, you wouldn't do it. The fact that you have done it, it means that you didn't know it at that point of time. Again, knowing something is totally different from actually practicing it at that moment, right? So we all know many things, that if you are being this way, it doesn't help with the child. If you are being this, it helps with the child. But at that moment, are you being it? Depends on how much aware you are at that point of time. Yes. So now when you see this as a mistake, again, the point I'm telling you this is, when you see this so when you are actually looking back and you are feeling this is a mistake, oh, I have again done this, I always want to stop myself from yelling, but somehow something happens and I end up yelling, oh my god, I shouldn't have done this, right? You are putting yourself into a mistake zone. When you are putting yourself into a mistake zone, it's like you are putting yourself into a guilt zone, or you are blaming yourself, or whatever it is, or shaming yourself, you are labeling yourself, I'm such a bad parent, whatever it is that you are doing to your own self. So what happens at that point of time? When you are doing more of this pattern of doing something, feeling bad about it, and then again doing it, and then again feeling bad about it, and then again doing it, and then feeling bad about it, it's like you're not coming out of that vicious circle. If you have to come out of this vicious circle, you got to do pausing and reflecting. You got to pause and reflect, and once you do that, you will identify those repeating patterns that are kind of repeating, and now you know that, okay, this is some kind of pattern which I am kind of getting into, and I don't want to get into this pattern. I know it's not comfortable for me at this point of time, but I know this pattern doesn't help me or the child. So when you are actually pausing and reflecting, you are catching hold of yourself even before you are reacting the next day when this happens. And yes, experiences keep repeating until you learn something from them. So the next day, again the same thing happens, it hits you, but you are catching yourself. You are catching hold of that thought. You have control on your emotions. You are not acting based on your emotions, but you know what you are feeling, you know what you are thinking, and you know how you should be responding, or maybe you shouldn't even be responding at that point of time. You are catching yourself at that point of time. This is a good thing, and this happens when you are pausing and reflecting. You're connecting more with yourself. You're going deep into your own self. You're kind of questioning your own self. Where did this thought come from? Where did this thought come from? How was I feeling? How would the child feel? And do I actually wish for this, or whatever it is? Now, on the other hand, that kind of negative vicious circle which we do something and then we feel bad about it, and then we put ourselves in the guilt zone and in the blame zone, and then again you do it, again you put yourself in the guilt zone, and then again you do it, again you put yourself in the guilt zone. This is another kind of loop that you get trapped into. And what happens at that point of time? So when you put yourself into guilt zone, you are parenting, or you are operating based on guilt. You are passing down guilt to your child. When you put yourself into the blame zone, you are passing down blame to the child. So what happens the next time the same experience comes up? You now know, okay, I'm going to put myself into the guilt. Okay, maybe I'm going to be shouting, maybe I'm going to put myself into the guilt zone, maybe I'm going to be blaming myself. And even before I put myself into the guilt zone, let me just put the child into the guilt zone, or say, just stop shouting, you are such whatever it is that you are saying. Again, I don't want to use those words here, but the point is this: even before you know that you would be doing this, and then you would be blaming yourself. So even before I will blame myself, let me just put it out and blame my child. You are not doing it intentionally. Please, my kind request, you are not doing any of these intentionally, but this is how the false conditioning that has happened is making you react. Yes? So when you are operating from a zone of guilt, you are passing down guilt to your child. Stop yelling. You are always yelling. You are such an adamant child, putting the child in guilt zone, because you know that if my child doesn't do this, and then I would have to do something to my child, maybe hit the child, then I would put myself into the guilt zone. So even before that happens, let me use whatever trick that is available to get my child do this task, right? Because when the child doesn't do the task, then I will carry so much of guilt. Oh, I'm such a bad parent. Oh, my child doesn't listen to me. Oh, I can't even do this, and everything, right? So even before the guilt hits you, you are kind of passing down the guilt to the child, because already you are kind of operating from a zone of guilt. So even before that comes in, you are passing down the guilt to your child. And if you are operating from the zone of blame, you will be passing down blame to your child. If you are operating from a zone of shame, you will be passing down shame to your child, right? So everything, so let me just give you two crisp points about this. So yes, there are some patterns, and yes, this is a very valid question, or there is a very valid learning that the child also does, that okay, this kind of pattern is kind of working, so let me just implement this with my sibling, let me implement this with my friend. Yes, that is what the child is learning. So what are the two things that you should be doing? The first thing is pause and reflect and connect with your own self. Ask deeper and deeper questions and connect with your own self. This helps you to connect with your child. The second thing is, yes, don't see it as a mistake. Don't put yourself into the guilt zone. Don't put yourself into a blame zone. Don't put yourself into the shame zone. Don't put yourself into a negative zone. And don't ever keep beating yourself up because this is kind of repeating and repeating and repeating. Because the more and more you are, all this is kind of draining your energy, right? Making yourself feel guilty is draining your energy, and the next day again you having that experience. Where is the energy for you to actually deal with that experience? Yes, you should be operating from a zone of positive energy, if for that matter, to do anything in your day. And when you are dealing with your child's tantrums, when you are dealing with your child's low emotions, or when you are dealing with your child's high emotions, your energy matters. So make sure you do not put yourself into that negative zone which actually drains your energy. It is of no use to you, right? So did this video add value for your time? Just type out value in the chat box if this has given you value. And under this video, in the description box, there is a link to join the Telegram group and the WhatsApp groups, in which you will get updates to join my upcoming free masterclass. So make sure, stay tuned, make sure you are connected, and wherever it is that you are watching this video, just like, subscribe and share this video to as many parents as possible, so that this helps not just you but even the other parent out there who is looking for an answer for this question. Thanks for watching until now, and take care. Bye bye.